We're going to follow Cassidy with Rich Fan from Pro Wrestling Torch. Cassidy.
Yes, hey, thanks, guys. Hey, Cody, how's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good, man. So with the women's tournament finals wrapping up tonight with the winner going on to face Shida, you recently tweeted about Maki Itoh and how you like to see her win the tournament. Is there many talks about and possibly bringing her back into the company to work more now that the tournament's wrapped up, especially after how big of a reception she got online?
Absolutely. Maki Itoh, the deity of, well, I can't say it on this call, but Maki, she impressed, as did many of the women in the Eliminator tournament, and I thought that was really special. I'd like to give a little shout-out to Shida and Emmy and Kenny, of course, and Nakazawa, because, like I said, Tony moved heaven and earth to make that happen. It's very difficult in a pandemic to get a show in another country and somehow weave it into the fabric of our own show. So they did a wonderful job with this tournament. And I think a discovery from this, and we were talking about how much tournaments can benefit and function your show, is someone like that who had a following. And we want people who have a following. The hardest thing to do, they say in sports, is to hit a baseball. To me, the hardest thing in sports is to connect with the fans. And if you connect with the fans, that's why you will see somebody like a Maki Itoh. That's why you see somebody like a Ryan Nemeth. They have a connection with the fans. You don't want to be the best worker that no one's ever heard of or never connected with. So, personally, there's been conversations on my end. I know a lot of the women in the locker room were a fan and would love to work with her. So let's take a look as things open up. I'd say pretty likely you see her again in an AEW ring.
Thanks, Cody. Okay, next up is going to be Rich Fan from Pro Wrestling Torch, and then I'm going to ask a question on behalf of Jason Powell from Pro Wrestling Net. Rich?
Hey, Cody, always good to hear from you. My question is really about developing younger talent. So you've had a lot of success working with the younger talent, and from places like WWE or other places coming into AEW, you've mentioned your school that you've worked with, your brother's school's opening. But in particular, Darby, MJF have become top-tier performers, and now tonight you have Jade and Red Velvet. With the tag match, what does it mean to you to not only see your status as a star grow, but also kind of being the king and queen maker behind the scenes in developing some of these younger talents, both on dark and on television?
Man, that's a really romantic way of describing me, and I'll take it. Because I have heard in wrestling companies, in the ones I've been in, how important it is to make new stars, and then I've seen people not make new stars. Or I've seen people not push down on the gas when the right moment occurred. And here, there's such an open mind, and Tony runs such a different business, that we are seeding. You don't want to have a top of your roster and then nothing, and then a bottom of the roster. You do have to fill out the middle of the card, the preliminary matches, and then you're able to pluck from there and bring them up to the top. And then they might swing back down, but then they'll bring the interest will be risen to the top. It's a whole formula, and I think we're the best at doing it because we had to do it. We started with a lot of unknown people, or a lot of people who had like a punk rock following where everyone told you about how great they were, but you really never heard of them or seen them. So we had to do it quickly. And if you look at, I mentioned Britt, I mentioned Ricky Starks, MJF, Sammy Guevara, and then you can look at somebody like Anna Jay, then you look at somebody like Jade and Red Velvet. That is our job. That is our job, to make them so wanted and needed and seen that you have to have an action figure of them, that they have to get media requests. And to me, that's the thing. It's the most gratifying thing as a wrestler, other than when you win the title yourself or win a title yourself, to hear the reaction for somebody who you just made. And I know we're talking inside baseball here, and I am by no means a salty old veteran, but I have been doing this since I was 15 years old. I've heard what that sounds like, and it's an absolute high that no drug on earth can give you. It's a very real thing. And I just hope we can continue to do it. And that will take not only looking at our own dressing room, our own locker room, it's going to take looking out in the world and finding people. Bill Watts was the master at finding, men and women from other walks of life, whether they're from basketball, baseball, gymnasts, things of that nature. You're going to have to look beyond just wrestling schools, and we do that at the Nightmare Factory. It's one of my favorite things to get a look at people. I'll tell you, one of the people we took a look at was Wardlow, and that guy's money in the bank. That guy is absolute money in the bank, and he's young, and he's hungry. He just borrowed my Bret Hart book. I hope we can continue to make stars.
Net, and we've taken the liberty of spinning the wheel for our final question. And landed on Michael Shalik from SE Scoops. So first we're going to go with the question from Jason, get Cody's answer, and then we'll end with Michael. So from Jason Powell, the company announced that AEW Dark Elevation will be starting this month, and there's still the forthcoming TNT show in addition to Dark and Dynamite. I'm curious to know what the taping plan for all this content will be once the world gets back to normal. Can you tape all this in one night without it being overkill for the fans in attendance, or is there a plan to spread out the various tapings somehow?
Well, that's a technical question, and I wish I had a really good technical answer. With all the content that's moving forward, that's an area where I'm going to leave it to Greg Warner, who I'd like to give a special shout out to, who heads production, Keith Mitchell, our executive producer, Tim Wahlberg, our director, and their teams to help coordinate something that's logistically the best for us. We want to make sure fans have the best experience, and it's not a marathon-style taping as I've been part of in the past, not at AEW, but I know how they feel, and I know where they can I'm trying to use the right word, they can linger and fatigue, especially for families. So we'll do everything we can to make it logistically and functionally correct. I'm sorry that wasn't a technical answer, but those are the guys who I'm going to rely on to do it, Keith Mitchell and Greg Warner and that team, because they're wonderful at what they do, and they have many, many years of experience doing this. And Tony will have his own plan, and we'll be off to the races.
All right, thanks, Cody. And as promised, to wrap it up for us here, Michael Shalik from SE Scoops. You won the lottery. You get the last question. Michael, you ready?
All right, best for last. Here we go. Cody, thank you for your time today. Following the announcement of AEW Dark Elevation, Tony Khan confirmed that a second TNT show is still in the works for later this year. Could you tell us, do you expect that this show will have a different format than Dynamite? Might we see a trios division, more outside the ring content, or something else?
Well, I know you're not speaking about AEW Dark Elevation. I know you mean the promised additional hour of content on TNT, actually. I think all our shows will end up with a different format. It's a bit of a brain trust in forming those formats right now. The focus is AEW Dark Elevation, how we can make that different, and how we can feature our younger stars, our preliminary stars more to get to know them. I can tell you one thing we won't do with AEW Dark Elevation is we're not going to bait and switch. We're not going to give you a show on night one that doesn't reflect what that show will be like the rest of the year or the rest of many years. When it comes to the additional hour of content on TNT, and I'm careful to say third hour because people sometimes think that means we're going 3 hours, which we are not. When it comes to that, I can only tell you that it has a name, and I love its name, but I can't tell you what it is, and hopefully on the next media call we'll be talking about it. But it will happen in 2021. In addition to that, there's some other news featuring some other AEW talent regarding another show that is also in the Warner Media family. So please, if you're part of our wonderful media list, or if you're out there and you work with Fleischman and Mandy and all these wonderful people who set this call up for me, please keep your ear to the ground, because we have made some pretty large moves and we aren't stopping. We're moving forward, full speed ahead, going all in.
Okay, well, Cody, thanks a lot, and to everybody who joined us. A lot of thanks to everybody. We're about 5 hours away right now from Dynamite, so on behalf of Cody and Tony Khan and everybody at AEW, we're very grateful for your continued coverage and your interest. So we're going to wrap it up. We're going to be distributing an audio copy here shortly. So again, thanks for joining the call. Remember, Sunday night, Revolution, pay-per-view, and we hope you have a great day, a great week, and we'll see you tonight, and we'll see you on Sunday night. Thank you.